Hello everyone. So this is a real short message at the start of the episode. Basically, we started recording, and then about 15 minutes in, Discord started going horribly wrong, and as a result, unfortunately, Thalian's audio is probably suspect. It's like, buggered. It's buggered. So my audio is fine.
I didn't have a ukulele for the apology, so I had to improvise.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. But so my audio is fine, Nazareth's audio fine. We decided to keep going only because we don't know when Discord's going to go back to normal. So we are sorry. This is not what we would like to do, but we are going to look for a solution where Thalian's audio is recorded separately.
Yep.
So
Yep.
There you go. Right, that's it. Let's move on with the show. Kanpai! Welcome, weebs, to this week's episode of Kanpai Cast. Today we're episode 142, and we're gonna be talking about tropes for a better anime tomorrow, as Nazareth has decided to name this, or something like that. You know, the impact of tropes on anime. You know, but first of all, we're gonna do what we always do, which is housekeeping. So. Like, comment, subscribe. We read all the comments, and they all go to, Nazareth will curate them, and then we'll comment on them in next week's episode and everything. I think we currently only take comments from YouTube. So yeah. if I don't know if there's a method of leaving comments on the podcast side of things, but if people message us individually, or if they say stuff on Discord, they will not be covered in the replies towards the end of the show. But
unless you ask us to, I mean, if somebody on the Discord says, "Hey, add this to the next episode," comments. Then,
yeah, but I mean, would that not get forgotten in things?
Potentially.
Yeah, so that's the risk. If you leave a comment somewhere else, there's a very high risk that it's
plus commenting on YouTube makes the algorithm happy, and if you like the show,
hey, you don't want to make the algorithm sad.
Yep. Okay, so also, do you prefer listening to us without the aid of YouTube Premium? I probably shouldn't say this because YouTube Premium may get upset. You can listen to us in an audible version down in the link below. Simply add the RSS feed that's listed below into your RSS, like your podcast platform of choice, Pocket Cast or what have you, or Spotify, and you'll be able to actually listen to us directly on those platforms. So cool. We have the entirety.
We'd still love it if you come here and like the video anyway.
Of course, but we don't want to buy likes. But anyway,
no.
The upshot is that you'll be able to actually listen to us without the need of weirdly downloading the video or needing YouTube Premium. You can just listen to us on the go, so it's all good. Right.
For your mobile devices that stop the video when you turn off the phone or turn off the screen. Ugh.
YouTube Premium doesn't do that, right?
Doesn't do that, right? But if you don't have YouTube Premium,
like a sensible human being, right?
Yeah.
And then the last point of interest is sort of housekeeping is the fact that we also take feedback on the Discord. So if there are things in that we do in the show that you want us to address better, we've had 2 bits of very good feedback already. One of which being for the audio version.
Are you sick of that Nazareth guy interrupting all the time? Just constantly interrupting Xeno.
I want to fucking stab you. Right. One of the points was we need to make sure that we enunciate what the names of the shows are clearer for the audio version of the podcast, and we will be looking to do that. So if you have any points of improvement for the actual show, please go ahead and leave them in the Discord. Don't forget, you could also.
Sadly, Xeno and I are British. And so our pronunciation of things may be terrible. So we do apologise for that in advance.
Why am I with the 2 people that interrupt me the most? I swear to fucking Christ. Also, don't forget you can actually submit your own meme submissions on the Discord as well. That is on a weekly basis.
We accept up 6 per week, and we highlight them towards the end of the video. Sadly, audio-only listeners will not be able to see those. Please come to the video if you'd like to have a look at those. But if you miss everything, the memes from all 3 of us and the viewers are archived on our websites with links below, in case Reddit or wherever the source is completely deletes them. So,
all right. So yeah, I suppose it's time for the what?
It's topic time. It's time for topic. Take this topic, put it all over the place.
You are yelling so hard into your microphone, you're peaking it, and as a result, we just get it's time.
It's topic time. Is that better?
That you are so quiet now. Wow, it's like.
Anyway. How about that?
They're good.
That's about
right. We'll see how that goes.
Right. It's even funnier when you realise that Topic is a type of chocolate bar over here.
Yep.
Oh god, it is, isn't it? Right.
Anyway, so all over your body.
Typically, I'm the one that's actually pioneering a lot of these topics. However, Thalian has done an intense amount of work for this, so I'm going to let him.
We've relied on Thalian a lot lately.
Actually, I'm relying a lot on the community. This is a topic suggested by Effendor on Discord. So if you guys want to head on over to Discord and suggest a topic that we might like to consider, please go ahead.
Anyway, so Thalian, take us away.
This was this topic was tropes and their effects in anime. Our favourite tropes in a genre, and some tropes should in fact be lessened because they're counterproductive nowadays. A good example is the isekai genre. Many of the tropes in that are a little bit too overdone. But yeah, where do you guys want to begin? With a kind of genre of the shows, or do you want to pick a trope and have some fun with that?
I'd probably say let's go with a genre and talk about the actual tropes that are commonly seen within that genre. Yeah?
All right. Yeah. So how about starting it simple with the action genre?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Covering a lot of the shonen shows, a lot of the martial arts shows and sports shows. And one of the more I think easily covered ones is the tournament arc.
Right.
Oh, God.
Yeah? Every show seems to have a tournament arc.
Favorite thing.
Yeah. Well, at least in a lot of the common Shonen Jump action shows, yeah, definitely.
So, personally, I have grown to despise tournament arcs. To me, they do nothing but prolong the show, and you can pretty much guess what the outcome is of the entire tournament if they show you, and they typically do. They'll show you like the first round picks, and they'll show you like who's paired against who, and you can pretty much guess with near certainty what the actual outcome of the thing is going to be. And
which fights actually matter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't catch what either of you said.
I said which fights actually matter in the tournament is easy to tell on the picks.
Well, I think the big thing is like the fight that will always matter is at least one of the penultimate fights and the ultimate fight, right? And it's just this is tiring. This is exhausting because you're basically seeing people beat each other up. They're just seeing bullies here for the better part of the show, and then you're just dragging this out. A perfect example of this is My Hero Academia. The second season was so slow because it was just dragged out into a tournament arc. When I was younger, I was fine with tournament arcs and things like this. I saw no problem. But doing this show, experiencing more and more tournament arcs, I just don't want to.
But that's true of a lot of anime tropes. You know, when you're tropes in general. When you're a kid and you don't have this genre savviness, it's like, oh, this is brand new to me. This is so cool. And then the older you get, the more often you see the exact same thing playing out over and over and over again.
Though you have a point, I think there's also down to execution, right?
Oh yeah, because I was going to say earlier there are exceptions. I hated the most boring part of the Cell arc in Dragon Ball Z was the actual tournament. But one of my favorite parts of Dragon Ball Super is actually the final tournament because it's a free for all. So there's way more going on than just like these two people get in the ring and fight each other. One of them wins and moves on. You know, so yeah, you can do it interestingly.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much what it comes down to for all these tropes. It's all down to execution.
Yeah. I have seen one little count. I've enjoyed tournaments when they are not the point, and by that I mean where they're going to a tournament specifically for an end goal that is not actually related to it. Right. A good one was in a manhwa that I read a little while ago, where the guy was hired to place 8th.
Oh,
right.
Specifically,
or about there. Okay, he needed to finish a certain number of rounds and then lose, so that it would maintain the honor of the people that hired him, but not draw too much attention to them for being able to hire a superb fighter. Right.
So and it's hard. It's getting him. It's a story about getting him to throw the match.
Yeah, it's in this arc. Yeah, you're getting him to go in there, and it's an excuse to meet a couple of people that will be important later, and get him money for something else. You know, it's get him in with his family. Not the tournament's not the point of it. It's just a plot device to get to the next point. So I much prefer
plot device.
Indeed. MacGuffin, Mr. Frodo.
So was this the main character that had to do this, or was this a side character?
The main character had to do this specifically because the main character is an unknown factor in this. And he's got a secret identity. He's much like Skeleton Knight, actually. He is a skeleton soldier pretending to be a regular knight. But this is a very different plot to that show. So I liked that as a concept, because we're not spending the time going in about all these things. You spend maybe 1 or 2 panels on the earlier battles, and then just, the one where he's got to, keep somebody that's interesting, and then the one where he's got to lose. That's it. You don't focus on any of the rest of it, any of the shenanigans. It's just those 2 fights, and those are over pretty quickly, because the plot wants to move on. It's not about
the case,
tournament.
Yeah. It's not about the tournament. It's about the plot.
Exactly.
I like that.
I like that as well, but I mean, I can't really think of many.
No, it's not. Okay, done,
but how much of the tournament do you have to watch in the process of this?
Almost none.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even necessarily say that's a tournament arc. That's just a tournament as a setting
arc in the chapters. In the chapter names, it's called the tournament arc. So that's why I need that.
I think one of the better tournament arcs for me, unfortunately, didn't translate in the anime, was the tournament in One Punch Man, where you genuinely see like all the fights in the manga of Saitama and the whole cohort and everything fighting each other, and it's hilarious how Saitama, who is effectively cheating, he's not allowed to wear any headgear, and effectively he's got a wig on to hide his identity, and that counts. And it's just like, oh come on, that doesn't count. But he has to keep the wig on his head and everything, and it's really interesting. It's just a fun, dumb thing, and I think it kind of takes the piss quite heavily. Yeah. But at the same time, I think again that's a way of doing tournaments well. Is just by not taking them serious, by making them comedic. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. So yeah, because like battle after 5 seconds of meeting. That was just tournament arc straight away, and it was grotesque. It was awful.
Exactly.
So.
That was another one where it was supposed to, where it pretended to be a free for all, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
But thinking of martial arts tournaments in that way leads me nicely onto the next trope I'm going to pick, which is the Screaming Warrior. Which is quite used quite a lot
in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, kind of on Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is literally every character on this. There's all those hayas and watas actually necessary, you know. And the Screaming Warrior is almost, in most other shows, played as a gag character. You know, it's like an overconfident guy that comes screaming in, and the powerful badass that you're following, like, decks him over his shoulder rather than actually take him on properly. You know, but you have quite a few really good characters in shows that are the Screaming Warrior. I searched through the tropes. I found Hellsing Ultimate's Alexander Anderson is a Screaming Warrior.
Really?
Because he's always yelling "Amen" or screaming when he throws his bayonets at people. Right? And it's the contrast to Alucard in that show, because Alucard is usually very serious, very put together until he has to release his restraint. And so it's a great contrast character with Alexander Anderson coming in and going, "Amen," as he stabs somebody in the face. So
okay.
Oh, you were going to say something.
I think that another example of this is actually Demon Slayer, where they're all supposed to be like, having these weird breathing techniques and everything. It's their, ninjutsu or bankai or whatever you want to call it, and it's their equivalent. But like, I've never heard characters angry breathe as hard as I have in Demon Slayer.
Bad screenshot just by the people who aren't watching. There's a really weird screenshot for scenes who have made that statement.
Oh my.
Yes.
Oh my.
But
I mean,
no, you're not wrong.
This is kind of a holdover from old Wushu and Wuxia like live action.
Yes,
stuff,
it is.
Where you'd always get the martial artists or the samurai or whatever shouting when they or screaming or making some kind of loud noise when they do their moves.
So, to you guys, is it really a problem that these tropes exist? Like, or this trope specifically?
Not really.
Scream Warrior.
I think this trope actually does add something to things quite a lot. And I do love the fact that some shows actually parody it properly. One of the examples I found was Full Metal Panic for Mofu, where in his one of his weird assignments, Sosuke has to teach a whole load of Yakuza wannabe kids not to be screaming warriors and to actually attack people, in a normal fashion and not go, "Yeah, you're gonna die."
As with anything, it's how it's handled, right? If it's Dragon Ball Z, where they're just screaming for the sake of screaming, no.
But I love that, though.
No.
I do actually love the fact that Dragon Ball Z has got further and further into this screaming. It's almost a parody of itself at this point.
Where he loses it entirely.
Yes. That's almost the meme from the DBZ abridged, which is his full power, perfect, and completely taciturn.
Yeah.
Very shuts up.
I think for me, the Screaming Warrior is okay, but don't start with it. I enjoy Demon Slayer. I still watch it to this day, even though a huge part of the community is outcrying that it's mid and things. but like, just don't fucking start.
Well, that one like started slow and then ramped up. Yeah, like you learned.
So
yeah.
So it works, but my whole point is that don't start crazy.
So this is one of those tropes that's always better in moderation, but can be funny when it's done right, or can be properly entertaining.
Yeah, okay. I don't mind it too much.
We're falling into that problem again of everything's okay if it's
with
right.
A lot of these.
Yeah.
Okay. The one I find that's never really done wrong, except in a few standout cases though, for action shows, is the rule of cool.
Okay.
Yeah. The willingness for the audience to suspend its disbelief of a situation directly proportionally for how awesome that is.
Like Ryo-Ohki turning into a spaceship.
Yeah.
No, ignore the fact that Tenchi's on the screen.
So, for example, JoJo runs on this.
That does also work.
Nazeth, shut up. Let him finish his point.
So, JoJo's runs on this trope.
Oh, God.
Okay? It literally, the cooler something looks, the more effective it is. Because that's just almost how stands work. And also the earlier series, learning Hamon, and the whole JoJo at that point, just basically bullshitting everyone that was his plan. Of course, it was. That's actually
why Xeno hates Part 4, is because it doesn't look as cool as the other parts. If it looks cooler, if it didn't look all weird and stylized and flash flat colors and everything, he'd be more into it. Yep, 100%.
No, probably. That's not why I dislike
100%. 100%.
Why are you in a mood today, man? Why are you trying to pick fights?
Let's pick a different show. Let's pick a different show. The Trigger stuff, Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The fact that they end up in Gurren Lagann with universe-spanning robots is, chucking whole galaxies at each other as weapons.
Yeah.
It is just cool. They've ramped it up. They've done the whole build-up to this point, and it's technically should be no reason for them to be able to do this. But we don't care because it's so cool.
They rip like a hole in reality itself so that the planet they're from can see them fighting. Even though they're like as big as the universe at this point, they can still be seen fighting, and it's like what? How? It's just so cool though.
There is nonsense, but it is in a smaller way. Black Lagoon does this as a thing because we suspend our disbelief on Black Lagoon with Revi's abilities to jump 7 feet in the air and shoot 3 guys before she comes down again. When they're being chased by speedboats and she jumps between the speedboats, killing people and blowing them up and steer into each other. The torpedo boat jousting against a helicopter, a gunship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, like your point of Revi, I kind of fight against this because the rule cool and everything with her jumping between these boats, like it's ridiculous that in reality there's no way in how she'd pull that out. Like as soon as she's airborne, like the friction will just push her like into the water. I get that, but there's a huge contrast difference between Revi pulling off John Woo style gunshots and things like this to a giant universe spanning mech that tears a hole in the fabric of reality.
You are right. You're right. There is a huge difference, but it's based on the universe that we're viewing. When you take something, as I say, in the situation we're given, our willingness to suspend our disbelief of that situation is influenced. So we would love to see Revi jumping between boats.
Live action stuff like Mission Impossible or Last Action Hero, you know, we're willing to forgive a lot of that stuff because it's just sort of the world as we're presented, you know.
Yes.
I would like you to tell me a show where the action is the rule of cool doesn't work, where the action is so bullshit that you
did, in fact. You were reading, weren't you?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, High School of the Dead. Shooting a sniper rifle through a set of jiggling boobies. No matter how cool that is, we cannot suspend our disbelief of that situation.
He's not wrong.
No matter how cool that shot is, using a woman with big titties as your gun rest, and firing across her through a mob of zombies where a girl is killing them all with a katana, and as she swings backwards, the slow-mo of her jiggling breasts moves them out of the way of the bullet. Not once, but twice.
Yes, because they're going in opposite directions. Yeah.
Well, it's weirder than that, because they actually kind of, one goes down and comes back up to avoid the bullet, and the other one goes down and comes back up to avoid the bullet. So the bullet goes under them both times.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's so weird.
I get where you're coming from, but I would argue that
the comedic tone makes it all right.
Yeah, it does. It's still like, you know, you're enjoying the action, your brain can still quite readily switch off.
But unlike
Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress gave me a hard time. That one had made me have a really hard time suspending my disbelief. Because it was like the guy used a choke collar or something to stop the infection from getting to him, and that right away made me go, "What? Huh? You what?" And it just kind of kept doing stuff like that to me. It's cool. It's got a lot of neat ideas, a lot of neat spectacles. It's kind of like Snowpiercer, but with zombies instead. But it just didn't get me. The coolness did not draw me in enough to overwhelm my disbelief.
I'll give you another one, Zeno, that you actually have watched, is Goblin Slayer Season 2. Okay,
you would have to argue that was actually cool in the first place, because I don't think it was.
No, hold on. Because taking down a brachiosaur ridden by goblins should be a cool thing. It should be. Using ropes and melee only to take out a dinosaur being ridden by goblins and attacking an elven village should be cool. It isn't, though, because of how badly the way the action is handled. So we can't suspend our disbelief about it at the moment to think that, oh yeah, that's exactly how they would have done that, or it's so ridiculous that it works. We can't do that. The action is so badly done that the cool thing, the coolness factor of it, is in fact ruined.
I don't know.
I get.
No, does that miss them off?
I would say that part was still pretty cool. It's just, actually, everything else that I hated.
So I've got one for you. I got one for you. I don't know how much Nazith's going to agree with this. So Nazith and I and Loz, we're all watching this at the moment. We're watching Claymore, right? And the way that it escalates fights and how someone who is about to go too far into the red
limits
and lose control and things, it's so bizarre to the point of like I've stopped caring. I'm enjoying the story for the story's sake, but the action, like...
To me, the more unbelievable part is the organization that they work for. That's what keeps throwing me off.
I get that, but we're talking about the action at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could argue that the way the organization is portrayed is also supposed to be cool. You know, oh, they're all edgy and dark and everything, and it's cool. But I can't suspend my disbelief about the way they behave because it seems against what their stated goal is.
It's, to me, the big difference here is with Claymore, they're all using these swords, and they've all got the same basic Claymore, you know, the type of sword, that they're using to fight these demonic entities. And it's all down to sword technique. So to me, it's like, oh, let's get Alucard, but instead of giving Alucard really big F-off guns, let's give him Behringers, right? You know, he's a vampire. He could do stuff with Behringers. You know, the weakest pistol known to mankind, right? At some point in time, you're like, why haven't they changed the sword? Why aren't they using different style? Why is no one using a crossbow?
Why is nobody using a sword?
Because the crossbow couldn't be enhanced by their natural abilities. Like,
yes, but
the woman who twists her arm around 21 times or whatever, you know, she'd never. What would she do with a crossbow?
But it might not be for her, right? My point is that the only thing that really separates out the characters is their crazy techniques with the weapons, and that's the point where I'm just like,
we just get back to the plot. Crazy techniques would actually be better enhanced by switching to different types of sword.
Yeah,
you know.
Sure. So like the quick strike. The girl with the quick strike, instead of using a claymore, she could be using a saber or something. Yeah,
a saber or a falchion. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's the point.
And one show to round out the rule of cool, I would definitely say would be Fooly Cooly. Which is, because this is a show where you see the main protagonist literally riding a bass guitar like a hoverboard, using it as a weapon, as a grenade launcher, and as an at the same time, and at one point fighting a giant hand that in fact flips over to become a cowboy, wielding 5 pistols.
But
and
I'd argue
it's just fucking cool.
I'd argue here that this works similar to the crazy horseshit of High School of the Dead, because it like Fooly Cooly does not take itself seriously in any way, shape, or form. Right? It's
except it does.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's so weird.
No, it respects its origin. It respects its source material, right? It respects its script, right?
It has a serious message, but the way it presents that message is madcap and bizarre.
Exactly, right? So it doesn't think itself high and mighty, right? It doesn't think itself to be the strongest warrior of the universe. It doesn't think itself to be able to fire a sniper rifle between some boobies. Right? It doesn't try to take itself seriously in any way, shape, or form. It is, I mean, hell, the animation art style on the screenshot that we have on screen right now, like they completely shifted the tone and made it some weird rotoscope monstrosity.
It's always like the weird episode of Crayon Shin-chan or something.
Pretty much. And that it
and then really back to normal anime,
and that really helps the tone of a giant hand turning into a cowboy, right?
Indeed.
Or the villain's plan being to use a giant iron to smooth out the world. You know
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Should we move on to another trope?
Well, okay. So I'm going to go through a couple more tropes that are like the key to the action genre and could be used more or less.
Let's skim through them. Yeah, so, and then we'll move on to another genre.
Most anime with action, especially the shonen ones, have things like the training from hell or the training under a master montage section, which often lasts for a bit longer than it should, especially in the shonen ones like Naruto or a few shows of the shonen ones have actually managed to do the opposite. One Piece actually cut 2 years of its timeline, saying, you know, we won't meet up again in 3 weeks. We'll meet up again in 2 years. Go do your training.
Black Hat did exactly the same thing. So Shonen Jump series, just before they're about to fight the big bad, they're like, right, we got to go train for 10 days. What's called, you know, and before we can fight the big bad guy, and it's like, and they just cut out the whole training arc, and they just came back with weird and wonderful ability, you know, like, you know, new tactical. And it's just like, awesome, this is great. I haven't had to watch some mind-numbing bullshit. Yeah, okay.
So does the hyperbolic time chamber count? Because I feel like that does the opposite, where they say it's a year. Or they say it's a year in like a couple days, but it feels like a year watching them.
It does. Anyway, a lot of anime shows have the arrogant kung fu guy. It's not limited to kung fu. It's usually a character that's in whatever your thing is in. He's the arrogant guy at the top of it. That's
master.
Managed to do, like, I've done 20 years of training in only 2 years by skipping the discipline part.
Oh,
and this. A good example would be Mr. Satan from Dragon Ball Z, Ranma half's Ryoga, and as a non-martial arts thing, Tatsumaki from One Punch Man. Because her arrogance is like absolutely off the charts, but she's also really powerful anyway, so it's kind of, yes, it's warranted, but she's still a bit of a bitch.
The other one I was actually going to say was Ranma half's Tatewasa Kuno. I fucking hate that guy so much. You know, it's always no, but like it's all about the whole you know, the rival that thinks that they're better in every way, shape and form because they have trained for like a couple of months at one specific thing. So no, I completely understand. I don't know if I actually like that trope or not.
Yeah, most of those characters are done as an annoying counterpart to the main character, and that can often be great.
But you could say that you need those annoying characters as well, even if you hate them. Like I hate Zenitsu, but a lot of people would think that he's, you know, necessary comic relief, and I'm like, why would you need him when you've got Inosuke?
Remind me to actually, can we pivot ever so slightly, just to say like how much I think the anime of Demon Slayer has done Zenitsu wrong. So I watched I watched a short recently that basically went into massive detail as to why Zenitsu is the way he is, right? And it turns out he had like I think it was like 7 girlfriends or something. I don't know if they were all concurrent, but he basically had these girlfriends and they all treated him like garbage. They all basically took all his money. They all ran away from him. They all, like, you know, they just abused the crap out of him. And that's why he is such a weirdo in all these. So basically, he had to join the Demon Slayer Corps in order to pay off all the debt that these women had occurred in his life. And that's why he is so attached to Nezuko. Seriously, does Do Not Disturb not fucking work on Android? Right. That's why he is so attached to Nezuko, because Nezuko was the first girl that actually showed him any form of kindness. Right? And that is completely omitted from the anime. I don't know if it's something that's supposed to be coming up or something, but like, if
sure
this is something,
my opinion of him.
No, but it would explain his motivation and his stupid, childish. I don't want to do this. Then why are you fucking doing it? Right? I don't want to be a Demon Slayer anymore. I want to go home. It's like he can't. Right?
Yeah, it's like I said last episode. The fact that he has to fall unconscious for his own powers to kick in removes his agency as a character.
Yeah.
So there's no room for character growth, because the only way we can start the character growth is so that he can access that ability consciously. that's the stepping off point for his character growth, and he hasn't achieved it yet. But
yeah,
there's not really the explanation for him being the way he is that Xeno has picked up from this other analysis.
Exactly. Right. Should we return back to the main topic? Are we done with action? Should we move on to another?
I think there's two others that I picked up from this one. One's the old master.
Yeah, that's fine.
Old guys in anime are just a mess. You know, in the original Dragon Ball, even though Master Roshi is old and chronically the way he was, you did not mess because his techniques were something he'd achieved immortality or agelessness at least. And
well, even in Dragon Ball Super, right, during the final tournament, he still shows some usefulness because he's got all this. Even though he's a frail old man at this point, you know, he's still got experience and that matters.
Yes.
Exactly. One thing to me, it's really important to actually have like an old wise teacher character. I hate anything where the techniques and skills and things are not taught, they're not passed down. I hate it, whereas I just made up this bullshit technique just after it's so cool. I hate it.
You can also,
I think that's possible, but it is less believable. You're right. It is way less believable. Especially if it's like a super technique and not a basic technique. Like if they were like, "Oh, I just came up with this basic technique on my own," you know, that'd be all right. But if it's like a super advanced technique, then no.
Yeah, I just don't like it. Like, or if it's a case of like, okay, so we've got this super advanced technique, and I have my own take on it. A brilliant one was what's it called? We know what Naruto. Where Naruto learns the Rasengan, which is like this crazy. He
iterates on it.
Sorry, you're breaking up for me. Say that again.
Sorry, he then iterates on it, gives it his own takes, his own functions.
Yeah, sure, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's like it was this crazy awesome technique that he could not learn the base way to do it. But he learned an alternative way of doing it to like the same degree as everyone else. And then he modified it further, which was great. Yeah?
Yes.
Don't just I just shut out a fucking Kamehameha, bitch.
This is where I find it really, really funny in One Punch Man, because we have the Old Master in Silver Fang and his brother Bang. They are the Old Masters. They are powerful badasses with the martial arts skill. They can't teach Saitama a damn thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
they try.
One Punch Man doesn't count because it's supposed to be a parody
satire,
and funny and stuff.
That's why I find it so funny, because they put the character in and they just and
then they just said they just like it's what is that called, hanging a lantern on it, where they point out that this should be the way it is, but guess what?
And the final one from this one that I thought, the simple one, the arch enemy. Every show really needs an arch enemy. With JoJo, it's Dio. With Spike, it's Vicious, Vash, and Knives, and Trigun, and even Shido, Itsuka, and Sir Isaac in Data Live, which Xeno watches a lot.
Goku in the entire universe.
I don't think that everyone needs an arch enemy.
No, but Rivals is a different trope.
Well, no, like Rivals, arch enemies. Like, I think that you can also have self-proclaimed rivals, which are ones that, like, for example, anyone that Sonic from One Punch Man, he sees himself as the rival of Saitama. Saitama doesn't see it that way.
Okay, but rivals and arch enemies aren't really the same.
No, they are two different tropes. Yeah,
fine. An arch enemy, he sees himself as the arch enemy of Saitama, but like, the whole point is that Saitama doesn't see it that way. And again, I like
heroes.
That. No, Sonic's not. Sonic's a villain. Sonic's a villain.
Okay, well then sorry. Obviously, it's been too long since I've watched it, so.
He was the really fast ninja guy that.
Well, there you go. Then.
Saitama,
yeah, that works. That works.
Got nut tapped by Saitama.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Speak of the devil.
So, but no, it's the action tropes almost always have some form of arch enemy.
Yeah.
Other shows, not so much, but action genre, especially the shonen action and quite a lot of the seinen action, have an arch enemy in some format.
Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily just have to be a physical arch enemy either. It could be an intellectual arch enemy.
No. Yes, exactly.
Like, as much as I hate to bring it up, Death Note with L and Kira, they are very clearly
so much you hate
enemies.
to bring it up that you're going to stop right now.
I'm gonna stop right now. Let's move right on to the next thing.
Yeah, let's move on to the next genre.
Why don't we pick something that has a lot of tropes like fantasy?
Go on then.
Okay, so one of the biggest tropes in fantasy is functional magic. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now this comes into play in quite a lot.
Now, when you say functional, do you include does that mean that you include things like technology that's so advanced it's indistinguishable from magic, or do you just mean magic that actually functions in the world?
Yes. So the power to change the world through supernatural means.
Okay.
As opposed to scientific means. Yeah.
Right.
So you can have. It's a lot that actually does fall under this. For example, Shaman King uses.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It uses theurgy and inherent gift summoning powers, where you have the ability to imbue, minor gods or deities, spirits and things. You perform with them and you summon them into yourself or an object to create power. And that's a fairly useful one in that series. You get more modern day magic that comes from outside, like Are My Goddess. It's a fantasy show set in the modern-ish day, and literally, if you took the limiters off the goddesses in that, the world would be destroyed.
Yeah,
because they are actual goddesses, but they can use magic to change the world, and sometimes do to the comedic effect. Shows like Black Clover actually function entirely around their magic system, but that's based on magic tools that are given to them as part of, they earn them when they go to the Great Library to find a book, and their own magic is based off those.
Does this include things like key manipulation? Because in theory, key is just energy, but functionally, it's magic.
It's actually. What was the actual religion it's based on is Taoist, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but funnily enough, Bleach's Kido actually falls under magic, because not the blade stuff, but they actually use of magic for this a codified system of scaling spells. Similarly. You can even include JoJo's stands.
So my confusion here is the difference between spiritual powers and
magic.
I suppose functional magic.
Yeah.
Like what is there a difference?
I assume that I assume that spiritual powers are supposed to be manipulating real energies that are supposed to exist, but then in these magic worlds, the magic is also a real energy that exists in a lot of cases. So I don't know. It's really weird.
DBZ actually does have real magic in it. The Witch Baba is a real witch, and
True. True.
One of the enemies they face, the Moro arc of Dragon Ball Super. Moro's a wizard. He's a wizard, not a.
Yeah, they do make that distinction,
standard
don't they?
fighter. So,
I don't know about this one. This one confuses me. To me, it feels like it's trying to wrap up all these different systems with a neat little bow, and it's just like I think there's too much to this that it's trying to cover, so to speak.
I think so. I think spiritual powers are supposed to be sort of an ineffable component of life itself, right? It's the energy that makes the universe move. Whereas
that
magic
masters have tapped into that,
yeah. Whereas magic is more of an extra layer on top of it.
It's an thing that you bring in and cast, as a tool almost.
Yeah, because I would argue that the stands in JoJo, what was it? The Kido from Bleach, they're all spiritual powers. Like anything from Shaman King is, it's all spiritual and things. It's like
it's an external power in Shaman King. It's an external one you bring in. So you bring in and you get power if you're
right. You do that to a spirit, sure. But the spirit is still there regardless. Not everyone can see and interact. Again, Jujutsu Kaisen is exactly the same. But things like, I can't speak for Black Clover or oh crap, what was the other one you said? Was it Armor Goddess? These magical systems. The only one. Like most magical systems that you see in a lot of fantasy stuff, it's like Roxy and Rudy from that it's a system that everyone can perceive and not everyone is attuned to.
Yes.
But it's a greater thing that's appreciated around the world. Whereas a lot of these spiritual things have really hidden.
It's something external to the body rather than internal to the body in a lot of cases.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel that functional magic is too broad a thing. Anyway.
No, but it is something that's key to fantasy in many cases. Okay.
Sure.
How about one that's easier? Let's have the Artifact of Doom.
So the
literally cast it. The description on this one was cast it into the fire, Isildur. In anime, Berserk's Behelit eggs. Behelit stones. Death Note. The Philosopher's Stones from Full Metal Alchemist. Even the Lance of Longinus in Ava. These are artifacts of doom.
Is the Lance of Longinus from Ava? Is it though? Because it just sounds like this is a pointy stick. What does it do?
It has the power to rewrite reality.
Does it?
Yes.
Does it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then why didn't Gendo just rewrite reality and just go, "Oh, my wife is alive"?
You need very specific conditions. That's what he was trying to do, but you need very specific conditions to do it.
Just a stick.
Tis a magic stick. Tis a doom stick.
It's just a regular stick. I'm surprised you didn't go with Dio's mask, but okay.
Yeah, Dio's mask is a good one, yes. So the artifacts of doom, or even just the arrowheads.
The pillarmen themselves, the pillar that they're in.
Yes.
What? What are you talking about? They're hibernating. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you just destroy the whole pillar. Destroy everything. Destroy their stone forms.
Well, that's what happened to the vast majority of them.
So, what do you think about that as a trope? Do you like having that in a show, an item that's, is definitively like a deadly item for that show?
I feel it's functionally necessary. Like it's and a lot of the times you need a MacGuffin. What? Yeah, I do. I think it's functionally necessary for a lot of these fantasy shows because you need motivation for a character to do this stuff. Otherwise, you end up with characters like Ainzel Gon, who's like, "What's your motivation?" You not agree, Nazif?
Why does it have to be a thing?
Well, what's the alternative?
Person.
Fine, it could be a person of doom. That's an artifact.
But in this case, the trope in this case is the artifact to do.
That's like saying a MacGuffin is always necessary, but the reason it's called a MacGuffin is because usually it's terribly used. and unnecessary.
Yes, totally. This is falling into our gameplay cast trope of it's done well.
I don't necessarily think that's what I thought the MacGuffin was. This is a powerful magical item that can do the crazy bullshit that we need it to do. And yes, Artifacts of Doom would fall into that 100%.
Yes, they're a subcategory of MacGuffin in that many times the Artifact of Doom has a function that gets fulfilled. So, for example, the Philosopher's Stones in Full Metal Alchemist do get used. And they are a thing that you discover how they work, what they are, and why it's a bad idea to use them.
Sure, I'm not saying it's bad to have these things. I'm just saying I don't think they're a necessary part of every story.
No, but do you like them when they're used? As instead of being
yeah.
Do you like an Artifact of Doom is actually used?
I mean, I think if you're gonna have a Chekhov's gun, you gotta have the gun fire at some point. So yes, I do like when they actually get used.
I think a large part of the problem is that we have so many fantasy shows, though, that they are just aimless and listless because they don't have anything like an archenemy or a MacGuffin of Doom. They have nothing, and it's just like,
okay,
this is boring as hell.
Yes. See, that could play quite well into another one.
Inuyasha has an Artifact of Doom in it, and I think it's completely unnecessary. I don't think they need that thing in order to actually make the story work. And in fact, having it in there just gives them something to help stretch the story out longer.
I can't speak of Inuyasha. I've not watched it.
They're going up in shards of like a powerful object, essentially.
Holy Stone.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Holy Stone grants power to demons as well as to, like the Shrine Mace.
Right.
Yeah. So the demons
have always been after it, and so shards of them, when it's shattered, find their way everywhere, and the whole thing is Inuyasha and Kagome and monsters that have been, and demons that have been empowered by the shards, defeating them and claiming back the shards to make up the whole MacGuffin.
Yes. But I don't think we're ever actually given a real number of how many shards there are. If they do, I don't remember it.
But so, that's the failings of most Shonen Jump anything. It's just the fact that fucking Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen is like,
the fingers.
How many fingers? Yeah, how many fucking fingers do you have? I got 20 fingers. 20. Okay, cool. How many have you had by the end of season 1? 3. Cool. End of season 2, 18. Jesus fucking Christ. That's escalated quickly.
Okay. But I think that brings us neatly onto the other trope that's really common in fantasy shows, which is the quest. Okay? And, because without getting lost, without a Monster 2, Gold, Glory to you on, it's kind of just, wandering around. And so, what you guys Dino actually brought this up is shows that spend too long. One Piece has spent too long searching for the One Piece, but it has been a good journey so far. Funnily enough, all of JoJo's seasons have a quest in some way, a goal they set out to complete and takes away from home in some way. Inuyasha, the quest is to find the orb, and even old classic Fist of the Star. He's searching for his wife Yuria, and then when that doesn't, when that is over, and seeks out his brothers.
So he
there is something really loud going on.
His brothers, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
Yes, his brothers. One of his brothers is actually trying to overtake the school martial arts that he learned from, and he'll find his other two brothers, I think, to basically fight.
They all learned under the same master. When he says brothers, he means I think they were all students under the same master. Is what he means. not like his actual biological brothers.
Yeah, I feel that most fantasy shows, again, they see, the problem is a lot of them, they have quests. Things like the realist hero who rebuilt the kingdom has what's called a quest. You know, we do actually really have a. No, it's a really fucking lazy one. I'm just gonna slap. I mean, I've just hit the fantasy. Right. I can't speak for. I don't know what show this is. Is this Saint Seiya? Again, the level 99 villainess. It's the quest is effectively play the game. You know, and it's like
it's just a giant advertisement.
No. I mean, like it's an Otome anime, it's like they're reliving the, you know, and it's not the end of the world, but it's kind of. Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle. I've not seen this. I don't even know how this classifies. I don't even know how this classifies as fantasy, but apparently it does. Well, there are so many that are just so listless in their quest.
Yeah.
That it's. Yeah. What's the next one? I
would say
the legendary hero. Oh god, yeah.
I would say even something like the Executioner and Her Way of Life. Kind of even though it's got a very clear goal and they are basically on that journey the entire season, it still feels very listless.
For anyone that's watching right now, we have one on the screen, which is the legendary hero is dead. I think I was able to stomach a grand total of 3 episodes of that.
No, Go Loser Ranger. Yeah, that fits in. Yep. Very listless.
You need to have a solid quest, right? You know, you want a solid quest.
Even when they do, Berserk. But yeah, even when they do have that solid quest goal, they just don't seem to go for it. It's weird.
Kind of, yeah.
Quest is one of the failings of Overlord.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's his like the whole point of Ainz's motivation.
Yeah.
It's his motivation is to find other people that have also been isekai'd, right? But his
method of going about that
is shit. It is awful. Anyway,
that was exactly the failing. If the other one, in the Land of Leedale. Sorry for the bangs if you can. There's a delivery outside the back of my house. In the Land of Leedale. The protagonist believes that other people were isekai'd into that world as well, and he seeks them out, but just kind of gets lost into a slow life before the end of it.
Yep.
Even so Gurren Lagann just popped up, and that one meanders a little bit, but even when it does, it's to further the goal of like building the world or getting you more accustomed to the characters or survival, but it is still always moving forward towards its ultimate goal.
But again, like slice of life, I kind of appreciate to be listless, right?
Well, sure.
I also appreciate shows like Gurren Lagann where they're setting up the environment first. They're describing the world around the characters before the epic quest is handed down.
Well, like all that stuff with Virul seems kind of pointless at first until he comes back, and then it's like, oh, you needed all of that. Okay, you know.
Before we linger too much, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because the next one on those trips is slow life fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a trope. It's an uncommon trope, but it's getting more and more common in things like isekai, because a lot of it is purism, and they don't go on purpose.
Sorry, I'm losing you too much. What? Say that again?
Okay. It's where the protagonist doesn't go on a quest on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, example would be one of my funniest shows was Kimonochi, where he gets to the world and suplexes the princess and leaps through the window to escape, and decides to set up a pet shop. He doesn't go anywhere really, and the whole thing is geared around this idea that he wants to open a pet shop in a world where pet shops as a concept don't exist.
Well, I think pets don't exist, don't they?
Yes, exactly. Another one would be the I've been killing
but Beast Girls
years and maxed out my level.
Oh,
sorry, I missed that. What?
Sorry.
300 slimes.
I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. That show is supposed to be a slow life, where it's a reward for her by what sends her to that world. She gives her an immortal witch body and gives her a nice quiet place, and she lives a peaceful life for 300 years watching a village grow. You know, and then at the end of it, it picks up a family of cute slimes, dragons, so on and so forth.
I love that the way the audio glitched. It made it sound like he said she has an immoral witch body, which is totally something Thalian would say.
Yes, it is. Definitely amoral.
I think another one to look at in terms of, I argue this has slice of life elements, is Inspector, right? You know, it's more modern day than Isekai, but it still has a lot of fantasy elements to it. But it's like you have these little mini stories. None of them particularly amount to much. And that's one of the nicest things about it. It's sort of like the exploration.
Would you really call it a slow life, though?
Well,
because they are still doing active things. They're actively investigating. They're actively helping these monsters. They're not just sitting around in a village talking to girls or something, you know.
Yeah, but like our goddess, Itagawa, I can't remember her name. You know, all she does is just go around places, sit down and talk, and maybe deduce logic and things like that. She doesn't actively fight anything. Hell, look at the first season. Like one.
He does.
Yeah, he does, right? But one fight was like 8 episodes long, right? It was the vast majority of of the first season, right? And like, if you weren't able to binge it, I promise you just like, dear God, will this fucking end already, right?
I'd say that's still more than happens in a slow life.
Right, but that was just one fight, though, right? What else has he done? Nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. That. So scary to all of the monsters.
Yeah. So. Yeah, go on.
So, do you appreciate these the life fantasy when they appear, or would you rather just go with some kind of questing?
To me, it has to be done right. Right.
Campfire cast.
Combat cast. Yeah, the tagline. Combat cast. It has to be done right.
Yeah, I mean the like. There are plenty of slow life. Crap. I'm just trying to think if one of them that's currently this season is a slow life. There are plenty of slow life fantasies that are okay and good, right? I mean, would Kobayashi's Dragon Maid fall into this? Don't really know. Why?
Kind of.
No.
Why?
It's a slice of life, but I wouldn't say it's a slow life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's too much comedic antics going on.
And specifically, Kobayashi has a job.
Also the other and also the other like dragons that show up and do things.
Okay, if you're distinguishing this difference between slow life and slice of life, then no, I can live without slow life.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Because there's so many isekais and so many other ones have done, like, I was kicked from the hero's party and I'm going to live a slow life in this small village in the country.
Yeah.
And that, I could do with those. Definitely. Okay.
I binged the first season of that. It was alright. But then trying to watch the second season, like, on a weekly basis, I was just like, oh my god, I want to shoot myself.
Well, that could be arranged if we Bugs and Daffy a bit. Anyway, the next one, a big trope in fantasy. No, they're not. A big trope in fantasy thing is the fantasy races. Well, there are fantasy shows like Vinland Saga, a historical fantasy. It contains entirely humans. There's a few others like that do a fantasy.
Wait, what fantasy elements does the fucking Vinland Saga have?
It's fictional completely.
That doesn't mean it's fantasy.
It's historical It's historical fiction. It's technically
historical
fantasy.
fiction isn't fantasy.
Yeah.
No, not all historical fiction is fantasy, but I would argue that the portrayal of the Vikings in that is fantasy rather than fiction.
Like alternate history.
Kind of. Okay, moving on. The non-human inhabitants of fantasy lands: elves, orcs, dwarves, gnomes, centaurs, merfolk. Different series have different takes on them. How they display them, how they interpret them. Goblin Slayer takes this pretty seriously, giving us actual differences between the races and why they're different. What they're good at, what they're not. We have lizard folk, dwarves, and elves, humans in this one, I think. And they have
I have a question.
Yes?
I have a question. So, in sci-fi, you also tend to have other races, right? Now, what if you had something like Gate, but instead of a magical gate that just opens up for no reason, it's scientists that... I don't know why I'm going so far off topic, but you have scientists that actually open a gate to another world, and in that other world, there are elves and goblins and dwarves and what have you. Would this now be a fantasy, or would it be a sci-fi?
Here's a response from Google. Did you mean Stargate? So, no. In that setting, I don't think so. In that setting, they are set up to be another world, so it's in our universe. And so it wouldn't really be fantasy. It would still be sci-fi because of the methodology of getting there.
Even if they have magic in that other place.
That's a very good question. It would mean that magic exists overall, and it would turn the series into a fantasy. Yeah, I think so.
But do you need... okay, so what about Star Wars? Is that a fantasy?
Yeah, actually listed on its genre as sci-fantasy.
Now it is. It used to be just sci-fi.
Yeah. No, from the original release.
Originally it was just sci-fi.
Because it had the Force.
Yes, I know. But I'm telling you now,
it was
when it came out.
He's saying sci-fantasy is more of a modern genre.
Yeah.
That has been retroactively applied.
So.
Yeah. So, like, I would argue that, if you were to take something like Gate, but make it that they go to magical inspired worlds and magic exists, but, humanity never tapped into the magic.
Maybe magic only exists in those on those worlds for some reason,
like Naquadah. It's just sci-fantasy, right? Yeah. Which is fine.
So in this trope as a fantasy thing, it's almost always something in a fantasy show that is not quite a human race. Where you compare something that takes it seriously, like Goblin Slayer, to something that really doesn't, like Delicious in Dungeon, where they only really care if it's non-human enough to eat.
So, for me, it's fantasy races are really important, right? Having alternate races than just human. If it like, they don't have to be absolutely everywhere. You can have like each race kind of keeps to itself, like in Goblin Slayer. I'm fine with that, but I really don't like it when it's like, oh, it's a fantasy setting. But everyone's human. Like in Overlord, granted, I've only really seen 3 seasons. Shudder. But there's humans, and then there's lizard people. That's it, right? There's thus far we have seen nothing else, and it's a case of like, why, you know, all the other races that exist are by extension part of Nazarick that got isekai'd in. That's it.
Yeah, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking back to Helk, which Xeno's gonna have no basis for, unfortunately. And I don't think functionally it would be any different if all the races were human. If the demons were actually just humans who lived in a different area and had a different history, or that other race that they ran into on their journey back to the demon kingdom, that had all been turned into like weird little gremlin things. Because I think in some ways that would be even more interesting, that you've got the body horror of the angel, the humans that are being turned into angels, and
the fact that some of the demons have the ability to regrow arms.
Yeah, It's something that they've picked up in their, being separated from the other humans. But they're still human. See, I don't functionally have a problem with something like that, Xeno. I don't think fantasy races are a necessity.
Why are these humans and these humans?
Because these humans have been living in the miasma, and so they have slightly adapted differently. They've learned new techniques. Then? Yes.
Why?
They can still. I mean.
They've adapted to work to live in the miasma.
Yes, but one slight adaptation doesn't change them from being human.
I mean, try and take that up with
same way that Dun Meshi does it. The reason humans, dwarves, elves, and the Padfoot or whatever it is, the race, halflings. They don't actually call them halflings, do they?
So, according to cladistics, if they started as humans, they will always be humans.
Oh my fucking god, Naz!
Stop it!
You guys could add new nested clades.
Stop it!
What happens when they give birth, Naz?
In Dungeon Mesh, those races are all considered to be, in this thing, because they are all humanoid. They all have the same number of bones, just different shape.
Okay.
And they don't have any particular mutations such as tails or horns, right? While elves might have longer ears and the halflings may have larger feet, that's adaptation, and they're called different things, but they're counted in the same kind of pot. Whereas orcs, which they to, are considered monsters because they are different on a fundamental level of the bones and the way they've developed.
Yeah, they've come from a different species entirely, just to begin with.
Yes, I mean, they've reached the humanoid state anyway.
I don't necessarily. I just prefer it. Like if you got a fantasy show, I just prefer it to have different races, because it just feels like this is a wasted opportunity. You've just got humans that with magic and humans without magic. Like,
yes,
what's the fucking?
I have to agree. I like these different races because you can have so many different interpretations on a dwarf. Senji is very, very different as a dwarf from the other dwarf scene because of his height and general demeanor. But
okay,
at the same time, he's also
it's necessary. Because I'll admit, I like it. I like it.
It's not necessary. But
it's not necessary. It's an easy win.
You seem to make it feel like it, or make it seem like it was necessary.
Okay, here's an easy way of putting this, right? Berserk, right? I'm going to argue does not have any of these extra races, right?
Yeah, not until after the eclipse. Sure, yeah.
As far as I'm aware, they don't even after the eclipse. Like they've got the demons, right?
Which is another race.
I don't, are the demons even from our plane of reality? I thought they were from somewhere else.
But that does make them another.
How does that make them a different race? How does that not make them a different race?
I'm with Nazis on that one.
Are you just gonna? Okay, please don't just argue semantics, right? My point is.
Okay, sure.
Right. My point is, right? Okay, fine. Fuck it. Gate. Right?
Okay.
All humans. Oh, actually, no. We don't have just all humans. We do have elves and weird demigod things as
and
well.
Dragons.
Damn it. Berserk was actually... Okay, the whole point is Berserk, right, does a fundamental, huge advancement in narrative storytelling with just humans, right? And yes, you got demons as the bad guys, right? That aren't natively from this world, but
but that's really kind of downplayed until after the eclipse. So I'll grant you that.
Yes.
Right, but the shit. I mean, it's still a win, right? But how much work did it have to put into it to make it that win? Whereas you get shows like Dungeon Meshi or
I don't know.
To me, it's just an easy win.
To me, in a lot of cases, these other races are just used as a stand-in for cultural differences that exist between human kingdoms already, right? You've got especially in the medieval era, right? You've got Europe, especially England, and then you've got the Middle East, and they're so culturally different that they're essentially alien to each other.
As long as the narrative tells it that way. Like, again, Vinland Saga, which is like an alternate historical show with Vikings and, you know, even the Britannians and things like this. They actually have like this huge cultural differences between the two people, and all they're divided by is just a stretch of water, right? And it works so well.
Same in Berserk, essentially, you've got the Midlands and the other kingdom or whatever.
I argue against that only because the other kingdom or whatever, right? It's better between the nobility and the common folk.
The commoners,
right?
Sure.
Yeah. But the big thing is that there are so many anime out there that don't have the quick win of the different races, and they just are fucking lame and lazy and useless and shit. Right, a brilliant show is, for example, is Black Summoner. Black Summoner is just, okay, granted it's an isekai, but I don't really count it because the guy can't remember any of his past life. So how is it a fucking isekai?
Isekai can be fantasy too, it's fine.
Yeah, but like all the races are human, right? And it's just like this is so listless. This is so like there is nothing captivating about like, holy shit, those are elves.
Misfit of Demon King Academy. Where, to me, functionally, there is no difference between the humans and the demons. They are all just humans to me.
Even the nobility that are purebloods that have very distinct different physical differences.
I just... something rubbed me wrong about the Berserk conversation. And...
Go on.
Cheech.
Cheech?
The flower spirit from the Fantasia arc of Berserk.
We're not counting anything post Berserk or post Eclipse.
Yeah, no.
So Puck doesn't count.
The only one,
Cheech doesn't count. None of that counts.
No, I'm just thinking though. But
I don't know if Puck is from their world natively. I don't know if Puck invaded.
That's the thing. Puck versus Cheech, because Cheech is just a flower spirit. She grew in the window, under the window of a prison cell where Guts was locked up, and yes, it's in the Fantasia arc after the Eclipse, but she definitely doesn't act like a demon. And
no, we're not saying all demons are the same though. Like you can have
the demonic mark on Guts' neck, the brand, makes demons want to kill him. So not all demons act the same, but they all recognize the mark. Cheech doesn't.
Okay.
So,
but again, that could be
a flower spirit thing. It could be from the Eclipse.
Functional magic changing the world.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't know.
So
we don't know.
It's interesting.
Right.
I think clearly there were powers in our world at some point, but yeah, it's weird. Berserk is weird.
Okay.
Yes, but it doesn't. It's interesting. Yeah, there's a couple of other fantasy ones. The only one really worth anything is Fate and Prophecy.
Oh god!
Which is telling a story that others have to follow, usually as open to interpretation as possible to have twist endings. And a few anime follow that one, like Sailor Moon, with Asagi being the actual chosen one in that one. She's the prophesied child of the moon that will restore balance and defeat the evil. And that's why her companions are so upset with her most of the time, because she doesn't live up to it. You know?
She doesn't what?
Live up to it.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's one I liked more as a kid and less as an adult, unless it's handled really well.
You say that because the fun one I found for this trope is the first sight rule in the 100 girlfriends who really love you. Because that's a hard rule of their world. It's a fate.
Yeah, and okay, so the whole soulmates thing in 100 Girlfriends is a bit of tongue-in-cheek, though, because it's granted to him on accident by a god. Like, they skim that part of them. They even take the piss out of it in the anime, like how quickly they skim over it in the anime compared to the manga. And I'm fine with that, but it's only because it's played to comedic effect.
Yes. I mean, what about fates and prophecies and other in general? What's your opinion on them? It can be good MacGuffins.
But it can also just be used super cheaply. Oh, they're gonna win because they're the chosen one.
Name a good one.
Oh.
Name me off some that you think are good.
I had a list earlier.
See, I argue against Berserk for one simple reason. We don't even know what the fucking prophecy is.
Yeah.
No, but we don't even know what the fucking prophecy is. It's just like, here's the prophecy. What prophecy?
The prophecy, I believe, was about Griffith destroying the world, or somebody destroying the world. Yeah.
Is it? Is it? So. I think the actual prophecy is that he will summon the God Hand. That's it.
Oh yeah, maybe yeah.
It's like true.
Yeah, but it's like we don't actually find out what the fucking prophecy is. So, like, I am honestly probably not ones for
Attack on Titan. Holy crap!
Yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's so good. Sorry, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I like the idea of fates in a show. Like, you are fated to do this. More like prophecy, if you see the difference. Because a prophecy, it foretells something to say, you know, oh yeah, that's Nausicaa. That's actually not a bad one.
Did that have a prophesied one? I don't remember that.
Yes, it did. The prophesied one in the tapestry. And it just basically happened to work out that she looked exactly like that at the end of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's one of those things of a prophecy so vaguely worded that you can have pretty much anything happen to kind of mimic it.
I think the big thing for me... Sorry. I think the big thing for me is I can't get behind prophecies in anime because if you just spat out enough dribble onto a page, eventually it's going to happen somewhere in the world.
It partly depends on if the magic in that world exists in such a way that you have true prophecy. Let's separate them by saying true prophecy versus just prophetic words, right? So if the magic supports that, then I still think it's often used as a horribly cheap plot device, just to make sure that you give the character some importance. Whereas in something like One Punch Man, Saitama wasn't prophesied by anyone to do what he's done.
No,
but he just did it anyway.
Yeah, in some cases, I think there's prophecies going on in One Punch Man. Like the world is doomed, and it's so vague that of course it's doomed.
Yeah.
But as I say, I like the idea of fate more than I like the idea of prophecy, because you can fight a fate. A prophecy will come is something that has to come true in some way, right? But also, you discover a fate. You can discover a fate. So, for a point of possible argument, no game, no life.
Right.
They are brought into that world to discover the game that the god of games is playing with the whole world. And they do, by the end of the first season, discover it, which is they can get all the pieces of the different races. They then play for control of the world from the games. And that's, obviously, it's a fate laid out by gods, but it's not pushed on you. It's not something you as an audience hear about or know about. It's something characters discover as you discover it.
Yeah.
And that I like more than just a prophecy. If they'd gone into that world and said, see, you're now my prophesied champions, you have to, world, play me in the game of the world, that would have cheapened it.
I agree. I do like the idea of fate and things, and again, I like the idea of fate if it can kind of be played with, and
potential fate versus certain fate.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like one of my so granted it's not anime, but one of my favorite narratives for Fate was the Legacy of Kain franchise, where basically one of the main characters, his soul is the ultimate weapon in the universe, but he is from the future, right? So his soul becoming the ultimate weapon ends up having to go back into the past. There's so much time travel involved with the Legacy of Kain franchise. It's fantastic. And when those events took place, I was like, this is awesome. This is great. They know how to tell the story properly. And again, this is gonna be my fucking what's the catchphrase? It's like, it's all about how it's delivered. It's all about how it's used. So
if it's the episode title.
Yeah, it's like, again, Fate is a better one than, or Vague Fate is better than
generic prophecy.
Yeah.
It's not about the size of the plot device, it's about how you use it.
So we are
about to say the same thing.
No. We're at an hour and a half. I would actually like to do one more genre and then wrap up. Yeah.
Right. Well, we can run through one. What would be your preference? I've got some examples for.
Just pick one. Just go for one.
All right, let's go for this one. I don't have so many for it because they fall into other categories. Science fiction.
Yeah. Okay.
The first of those on my list is not quite modern day, and it's a place of time close enough to the present that it's relatable, but far enough in the future that you can kind of expect there to have been technological advances.
Like Tokyo 24th Ward, where
that's on my list.
Very similar to our world, but like they're just starting out with AI, with like real AI research and using tones to change your brain patterns and things like that. But it still functionally seems like our world because they've got normal buildings, normal people. Everyone's using cell phones. They've got bullet trains and all that. It's just it seems very similar to our world. It's just slightly different.
I'm okay with this to an extent. The closer it is to modern day, the more I hate it. Right? Like, I don't want sci-fi realistically to, and I'm not saying exclusively, right, but I'm saying realistically, I don't want it to be close to modern day, right?
So what about Terminator? There is that. A good exception that would have would be the Guyver.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
good exception. Another one would be the Full Metal Panic seasons. or Air Gear, which again you could imagine a whole culture being built up around high-speed motors that make roller skating really fast.
Especially considering the random craze that we have right now of people on electric scooters that they're going to get themselves killed. Yeah, so I'm not saying it's critical that it needs to be set in as far from modern day as possible. One of my favorite sci-fis that I wish got more is Terraform Mars, right?
Okay.
Terraform Mars is just such dumb, silly fun. It has a bit of tournament-esque elements to it, but at the same time, it's sci-fi enough that, you know, it's soon, but it's not so soon, right? And that's what I like about it. You know, I mean, they're terraforming Mars. You know, so we're definitely not there yet. But I mean,
I'd say a lot of the Gundams kind of fit this this
similar,
pattern too, where
they fall into another trope that's more fun to talk about. Before we get there, though, I thought another one would be military moe. And this is amplified by things like Girls and Panzer.
Okay.
Strike Witches.
Okay. Where it's, yes, Strike Witches, Gunslinger Girl. It's sci-fi, obviously, because of the setting that they're in, but it's all done in a format that makes it cute. So it's not a must-have, but in the few examples we've had it in, I've really enjoyed it.
Is it sci-fi?
Because, you know, they live on giant aircraft carriers.
Yeah, but we don't know when it's set.
And pilot and
it
drive
tends
around
to have indestructible interiors.
No, I think isn't that just down to the rounds though?
Nope.
Well, they are using.
They talk about it at one time. Yeah, they talk about it at one point.
Yeah, they're perfectly safe. What about the fucking person that's navigating, that's sticking their head out of the thing?
Yeah.
Perfectly safe.
Perfect.
I mean, I'm just like, to me, it's just like, is it sci-fi? But at the same time,
how can it not be?
Technically, yes, and we all know technically correct is the best kind of correct. So there you go.
Not wrong. Girls and Panzer is amazing. I fucking love it. It's hilarious.
And
but
so,
apart from Girls and Panzer and Strike Witches, what else is there?
Gunslinger Girl.
Oh, we don't have
Which
that either.
I've never watched.
I've not watched that.
So that's it. Yeah, that's a thing where the it's called military moe because these are government-employed assassins,
right.
But they train up basically preteen girls.
Recoil might count. Technically,
yeah, that's another one. Similar.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so this is a where they deliberately train up preteen cute girls because they're not suspected of being assassins. So they teach them how to shoot. They teach them how to assassinate people, and you get these really interesting scenes, like where because they're kids, sometimes they forget things, and one of them gets a jam on their slide for the gun they're holding, and actually look down the barrel to see what's wrong with it. And the trainer, actually literally smacks it out of her hand so hard that the poor girl goes flying across the room. You know, he's literally a huge, big, beefy man. So it's not a for kids kind of show, but it still contains that both the military aspect and the little girl aspect that makes it military.
Which one of you has the bird?
It's me. It's like fucking. I don't know where it is. It's right fucking there. It's Jesus Christ.
Superb, you funky Death Omen, you.
But one thing I will say off the back of the whole military moe is Girls Attack. I think it's called Girls Frontline. Sorry, it's based on a mobile game called Dolls Frontline.
Yeah.
This was not good. All right.
And there's so much in this genre too, where it's girls that are like war machines or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and a lot of it is based off of mobile games and things like this.
So, and so on.
I think it can be a valid. Oh dear God, he's going to say it again. I think it can be a valid trope, but in all honesty, this is not one that I think is a necessity. I don't like if it was like, oh yeah, check it out, it's military moe. Like, I didn't give a shit.
It's not one you'd seek out.
Fun, but not necessary.
No, yeah, I wouldn't seek out at all because there's too many out there. That's just not good.
Let's go on for fun sci-fi stuff. Super Mecha. It's mecha on a power level and size that's out of the world. Such as Mazinger Z, Gurren Lagann. G Gundam actually falls into this, and the Big O.
No, G Gundam does not fall into this.
It apparently does, because it's not.
It does.
Bang Bravern.
It's Bang Bravern.
All Gundam. Yeah, Bang Bravern.
Yeah, it's on the power level.
I think it does.
It's on the power level, yes.
No, G Gundam wouldn't fucking fall into this. G Gundam is fucking real mecha. What
about Double Gundam?
No, it would be.
It's listed as.
Oh my God, dude! Seriously, there are some of the mobile suits.
Under both.
There are some of the mobile suits in various different Gundam shows that are absolutely fucking monolithic and would just put Double Gundam to shame, right?
Yeah.
I am not kidding. Yeah. And there's like the psych. Shit, what are they called? Is it Psycho Frames? I can't remember.
Yes.
And what's it called? What's it called? Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt involves Psycho Frames or Psycho suits or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, the equivalent.
Yeah, they're like, Wing Zero and Apion. They're Psycho Frames, right?
They are.
Because of how much they they change the battlefield, and it's all like bullshittiness and things like that. They're not fucking Superman.
G Gundam is listed under. That's why I brought it up. G Gundam technically falls under it, and is listed because it's listed under both.
Okay.
Well, it's Super Mecha and Real Mecha. I like the Big O being there because its specs are both enormous and surprisingly ponderous for their size most of the time.
Gao Gai Ga would also fall under this. I'm not sure. Even Gelling would fall under this as well.
Yes, if it was actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Although they're not really robots, so I don't know.
Well, Titans are mecha, so it counts. Shit, what was there? There's there's one I had in my head. I forgot it. Yeah, okay. I'm not. The thing is, I'm not overtly fussed. That I think that would count. I'm not. I really can't remember.
You don't actually prefer. You don't have a real preferences for Super Mecha, but you wouldn't seek it out more than you would Real Mecha. Is that right?
No, a lot of the time, like Super Mecha, I just don't. They always go fucking weird. Like
it always has to do with the power of the burning spirit. Rather than...
No, I wish, Nazeth. I fucking wish it was about the power of the burning spirit, because that's cool, right? It's when it's just like there's a whole bunch of them. There's I think it's like Valrave or genuine. I can find a list of the Super Mecha, and like again, there was one of them where it just like eats people. Like if there's actually, I think we might actually have it in the system.
Like they reset time in Big O, which is weird. So
no, it's the one I'm thinking of. Basically, there's an interdimensional conflict between these giant mechs, like super giant mechs, and each universe has a mech, but every single time someone pilots it, they die. Right?
Starts with a B, doesn't it?
I swear it starts with a B. Do we have it in the system?
I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know what this is. What's this? That's Booster Rankin. No, that's Booster Rankin. So yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I don't think we have it in the system. But again, it's a lot of the time Super Mecha is just fucking weird. Oh, SSSS Gridman, that was the one I was thinking of. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if it
would that be robot? Yeah, it would be. I
don't know. I don't know, because when they bond with Gridman, they're not exactly piloting it. It's like how Ultraman gets massive, he grows, right?
Yeah.
It's a similar, I think, a similar premise for how a spirit of a person kind of bonds to.
Ooh, is it?
Yeah, it's
Barakamon?
That's the one.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one.
Barakamon. Barakamon.
Yeah. So,
but Gridman is actually portrayed as a mecha.
It is.
In his appearance.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Dynazenon would count as well. Anyway, sorry, yes. But I'm not a fan of mecha.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it so much.
I kind of like some of the over-the-top nature that comes with Super Mecha, but let's move on to the other trope, which is real mecha, which is also not real in the sense that they exist. It's real in the sense that you could see them being built.
Yeah,
and almost all of the military mechs in Gundam,
they go into like real detail about the mechanical parts of it too. Weirdly, I would say Gurren Lagann almost counts, even though it's clearly a super.
No.
Yes, in the initial part, but Code Geass is one.
Yeah.
But one of the favorites of the channel is Patlabor.
Of course.
And those shows, when they're actually focusing on a slightly smaller scale, mechs that you can see how they would be built. Even if you can't build them now, even if we don't have the materials or the structural support kind of things to actually build them now, and have to hang our Gundams up on giant trees and pretend they move.
Oh no, you know that the only reason why that the Gundam in Yokohama was on a gantry, right? It's because legally. Yeah, it legally has to be able to survive. Survive an earthquake without falling over, and they couldn't guarantee that. It's the only reason why it was on the gantry.
But yeah, and you can see how they would be built, and the military uses of them, or even the police enforcement uses. In the case of Patlabor,
or even the construction industry's use of them.
Yes. I really like the real mecha trope. It's that thing of thinking that we get there if we actually put the research into it. I'm sure we could, and that would be awesome.
What was there was another one that you watched,
which was recent.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
Yes.
Like again, it's sort of like not just the summoning and the fanciful, like, oh, come to me, Patley, but it's also like the office side of life. It's the the financial implications. I mean, I would there's to an extent I would argue, right, that Evangelion started off as real mecha, right? Especially things with like the batteries, the umbilical cords, and everything like that to keep the thing powered, right? I would argue that very real mecha, but then when it starts like going off the fucking walls and everything, and it's just like
when you find out what the gun actually get off.
No, it doesn't need a plug. Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's just like, wow, okay, we're just making shit up as we go along. Cool, okay, back to Super Mecha. You know. Also, another one is
Soylent Green.
Yeah, another one is Synduality Noir. Right, that's another real mecha. So, I personally absolutely.
We've also had at least one Company News story about this, where they made the transforming sort of robot vehicle thing. So like they're coming slowly but sure. And that one clearly looks like an early, not a labor. Do some of the laborers have tank treads? Yeah, the construction laborers. Yeah, so there you go.
It's more like oh god, there are mobile suits in Gundam that are basically top half mobile suit, bottom half tank.
Early version that have like tanks on the shoulders and things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
like Frieza kind of thing.
Real mecha, even if it's a case of it's not a core part of the show. I love that. Again, like dealing with things not necessarily on a real mecha direction, but like look at Kaiju number 8, whereas like they have to construct these huge monolithic frames to handle these giant piles of
beasts.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, again, I love that kind of stuff as well. It's kind of, I suppose, looking at the mundane ways of dealing with stuff. Yeah,
that's a good question. Where would you classify Pacific Rim, like the Black? Where would you classify the Jaegers?
I can't remember Black. Like if it's like the original Pacific Rim, technically real robots.
Yes, I'd go with real mecha on that one.
Yeah,
it's the initial one I saw in the start of the series that I watched were the same fact. You know, they worked on the same function. So, yeah, I would class that quite easily there, but I'm not sure where it goes in the end of it. I think they might do something silly.
Either.
It's difficult because, like in Pacific Rim, the movie, right? And again, I'm going to assume it's very similar with Pacific Rim: The Black. They talk about how Gypsy Danger has 50 engine cores per muscle strand, right? The sheer weight of this thing would not be able to stand up, regardless of what the hell power core you have. Like it would, you know, you would irradiate your pilots in mere moments, and so on and so forth. So, like, again, that is very much the super fanciful mecha side of things.
You often have to make some exceptions, some suspension of disbelief in these anyway, even in the real ones.
Of course. Yeah, of course. So I would argue that it's real, but at the same time, I would genuinely listen for an argument. It's like listen to an argument that it's super.
Super, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I lean a little more towards super, but definitely with a real ground, like a leaning towards real.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we might have to come back to this topic for later, because there's horror, isekai, historical, and drama, and even slice of life that we haven't covered in this. So yeah, we could come back to this for another topic later. I'll keep holding that.
We didn't even talk about power suits. Sorry. So yeah. Right. Okay then. So I think again, it's there are some
so
tropes.
many of these.
Yeah, it's all down to application. I don't want to cop out, but there's just so many instances of stuff done poorly, and some stuff done absolutely fantastically. You know, so.
As with any cliche, you can use. They become cliche because they're easy to use. They do have some grounding in effectiveness, but you have to use them effectively. Like they're so trite at this point that you have to use them effectively, or else they're just come off as another cheap grab, another cheap ploy to try and connect with the audience.
Yeah.
Although I do appreciate that some are supposed to be universal, regardless of how well they're used, such as the wise old master in a martial arts show or an shonen. Because even if they're poorly executed, they kind of do need to have at least that presence there to show what
it's better with them than without.
Yes, exactly. Even bad ones, it's better with than without.
Right, shall we begin to wrap up and move on to the supporter questions? So, Zrugel asks, before we start the supporter questions, I'm going to ask everyone to make sure you're all subscribed to the channel, like the video, and share if you can. It really helps. Today's questions for the audience is... what have you been watching lately? Let us know in the comments section below. You know, just, you know, specifically that. I'd love to know what people are watching. Zrul also asks, what anime makes you question your life choices?
Eyes of Mars.
Najica Blitz Tactics.
Oh God!
Oh, crybaby. Actually, I could say Cat Soup or School Days. No, I'm gonna stick with Devilman Crybaby. Right.
The non-badly dubbed Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories.
Why would you? Anyway,
why would you do that to
yourself? The badly dubbed one is funny. The badly dubbed one is absolute hilarity.
Right.
And yes.
Naz, I wouldn't be surprised if someone returns with To Your Eternity. Anyway, so Nazeth Check Your Audio Settings asks, thank you for clicking the like and subscribe buttons for those that did. Probably added too many that's. And for those that didn't, you know who you are.
You know who you are too.
Nazeth Check Your Audio Set. No, we don't. Don't lie. Nazeth Check Your Audio Settings also asks, what anime makes you affirm your life choices?
Devilman Crybaby.
Kobe. Fuck you so much. Kobe actually is Dragon Maid.
I think I'm going to have to go with something like Overlord, because it makes me absolutely glad that I did not get isekai into that world.
I'm glad you haven't watched it.
You would just do it better. Anyway,
most of the Western world would do it better.
Yep. Right, so moving on to the comments from last week. First of all, the news. Struggle says, I want to make a joke about Optimus Prime getting arrested, but I'm left too stunned I can't think of anything. Fair enough.
Woo, transform and get this boot off me.
No.
Woo, delicious second season. I'd riot if they didn't. Yeah. We will actually be covering that next week. Interesting. I didn't know you need a stamp to get an address, but also need an address to get a stamp. I'm not sure. No, I think it's like you need an address to get a stamp to get a bank account, and a bank account to get an address. So, yeah, it's a giant mess, especially for foreigners. Not sure why, but now I really want to put a personalized stamp. Yep, I do.
Same.
A Scooby-Doo anime. Okay, I probably won't watch it, but I won't judge. And a Lord of the Rings anime. Okay, I'm more likely to watch that. Could be cool.
I do appreciate some of the news on saying, like, it's getting an anime. It's amazing. They already did. Scooby-Doo has an anime.
Is it?
Yeah, that you can actually. It was, God, 2006 or something like that. There is a Scooby-Doo anime, full cast. This one is just Shaggy and Scooby going to Japan and picking up new people to be like their mystery club.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Okay. That's weird though, because I would not have suspected that those two would want to pick up more people to do mysteries and things. Anyway.
Yeah, there.
Strong Michelle says, I'm dumbfounded that someone would change their name to Optimus Prime. But also, he should be ashamed of allegedly committing crime with a name like Optimus Prime. Yeah.
But the crazy thing is he's not the only one, and there was also a Megatron in the like, people are weird.
Wait. That Studio Ghibli kitchen was gorgeous. What's Xeno's problem with it? What was my problem with it?
You just hated Spirited Away.
No, it wasn't Spirited Away. I thought it was My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh, Totoro. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like, what's the fucking point in this? It's just like, oh, it's the set. There you go. It's a lived-in set that no one can live in. Not allowed. There you go. That's my problem with it. The Demon Slayer smartwatches were so cool. I would buy one, but then I wouldn't be making a car payment or something. That's fair.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do that. Right. And then moving on to the comments from last week's cast. Stromba Shell says, I remember being blown away by Trigun. Yu Yu Hakusho made me interested enough to keep up with it for a while. Although when I watched those, they weren't nearly as many shows good or otherwise to choose from. Yep. Case in point, I thought Sword Art Online was pretty cool. So it was a pretty cool premise. Fully let me down when I watched it though. Oh, and Death Note 2. It sounded so cool and unique, but it got so contrived. Golden Conway had me hooked from the start. That's a good one. Also, Samurai Champloo. Also, Samurai Champloo. I liked that one from the first episode. I couldn't argue with Xeno over it, but I like the character and dichotomy of styles. It didn't let me down. Oh, there's a show I've been watching on YouTube that I've liked since the first episode. It looks, I look forward to it each week. It's called Kanpai Cast. Not sure if you've heard of it. Oh,
no, never heard of it. Never heard of it. Sounds like a terrible show to me. Who would watch something like that?
You know, I was trying, as I was reading that out loud, I was like, what the fuck did we do for the last week? What the fuck did we do? And then like slowly piecing it together. Okay. So moving on to Zrugal's comment. I always click the like button, sometimes more than once. Does that?
Well, if you do it more than once, you need to make sure you do it 3 times. Because
you need to do it an odd number of times.
Yes, yeah.
Though I agree that this list is going to be subjective, there's no way around it. I found the first episode of Fruits Basket to be pretty interesting. That build-up and ending, or broader story as a whole, was absolutely amazing. Masterpiece quality. Maybe I should try and pick it up again. Nazith hasn't... Yep, Nazith hasn't watched Fruits Basket either. You guys need to watch Fruits Basket.
I think I tried watching the original when it came out. But I just couldn't get into it.
I have watched the original. I liked the original, and the problem is watching the reboot. It's like I remember what I'm watching. I'm like,
but it gets up to that point, and then goes further, and actually takes more from it.
Yeah, I know.
So if you've watched the first one, you have to get through watching the first one with better animation. But that's about it as far as the downsides go.
Like watching Spice and Wolf.
I don't know if Nazith would enjoy it though, because it is.
You know me and my
very slice of lifey.
Yeah.
So.
I can't really think of shows where the first episode hooked me. If I had to, maybe Kaiju number 8, maybe My Next Life as a Villainess. I enjoyed those. Oh, and Konosuba. Campfire cooking in another world was awesome too. I loved how it started almost like a parody of normal isekais, but it was so chill. I just loved the whole thing. See, Konosuba, I think, is great, but only from episode 6 of season 1. Like, it's so...
I don't know. It's really
because that's
good.
when the satire really kicks in.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's also impossible to get hooked on the first episode, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So, well done, Zrugal. You can't really think of any, but then you come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 straight off the bat. Yep. So well done.
Oh, you know what? A show that I like the first episode of, but then dropped. Chilling in Another World with my level 2 super cheat skill. Seemed like cool escapism / power fantasy, but it turned into a pile of lame. You're not wrong.
Pile.
Are you still watching that?
Yeah, I'll be reviewing it for the end of the season. Just to,
right.
Yeah.
And now it's time for the memes. Clearly the best part of the show, and the only reason why anyone actually comes to the Kanpai Cast. Right. Nazith, if you want to say your bit.
Yep, all our memes, our memes come from Reddit mainly, and we archive them on the website, the KanpaiCast website. You can find links down in the description below to all of them. Assuming I haven't screwed them up this week. And then we've also got viewer memes, which you can submit on Discord for us to see live. Live recorded. For the first time,
live reactions
live reactions on the show itself, because somebody else is kind enough to collect them all for us, so we get to see them blind. And we've got 4 this week. Shall we go ahead and go ahead
awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So
oh my god, I love this.
Oh no.
Is that a Rathalos?
That's a Rathalos.
That's a Rathalos.
Chef's kiss. That's fucking amazing. I love that.
Oh my god! Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That explains some anime girls be stupid.
Yeah.
That's nightmare fuel.
Too much slush brain.
Oh dear.
Mike Wazowski.
What the fuck? Tommy Lee Jones always looks like
his son just told him he wants to ride a unicycle professionally. Xenogelion always looks like Nazareth wants to ride unicycles.
Unicycles professionally.
That is brilliant. Was that you, Thalion? Did you do this?
No.
You son of a bitch!
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
I could go find who did this.
Whoever did this.
You're brilliant.
Yeah.
And the last meme.
Chef's kiss.
Oh god, I've seen this before.
I've seen this before. Yeah.
Yep.
God, Lois, I'm an anime girl.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I can't really tell what's going on with her hair. Like the eyes are not right.
I think it's a bow. I think it's a bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the beret is okay, but the eyes are just wrong. Anyway,
I mean, to be fair, at this resolution, it's not too bad, right?
Yeah.
It's when it's smaller at first glance. Yeah.
Right. So Thalion and I both have a lot of video memes. I've got 4 and he's got 4. Let's get into
my 3. Okay.
You only got 3.
Come on, Lloyd, you gotta help me get a date with this chick. She's perfect. She's into technology, ambitious, and has great leadership qualities. She's a real looker too, at 35 feet tall, weighing in at 5.7 metric tons. She can squeeze my head between those steely thighs any day of the week. Huh? I'm serious, Lloyd. Here, have a look. Frankie, that's no woman. That's a Decepticon.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's brilliant. I love that. Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
The fastest things on Earth: Cheetah, airplane, speed of light, are this looting the new VTubers gen?
Yep. Lol.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Definitely.
So she's doing impersonations of different characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's the voice actress for all of these.
No, I don't think she is.
But she does a really good job. Okay, that's enough of that.
Okay.
Well done. Some of those were brilliant.
I know. Especially the Siri one. I have the best goal. Replace the Soul King. No way I do. Make world peace. Nah, guys, I have the best goal. Dying in the biggest war. And then we got Kira. Don't judge me! Judging you so hard, Kira.
Hans.
Oh my god.
Judging you so hard. So I knocked One Piece after 10 episodes because it was boring. Off on a piece.
Two pairs. Exodia, the forbidden one.
There you go.
I've seen this before. It's brilliant. Oh my god, I love that one.
Pretty sure I've seen it before too, but I don't care. It's so good.
That's how Jim would win that card battle in.
But yeah, the One Piece one. Right, onto Thalions.
Is this ham processed? If it's processed, I don't want it. Ma'am, that is an 11-pound whole slab of deli ham. It has no bones, fat, or connective tissue. It is an amalgamation of the meat of several pigs, emulsified, liquefied, strained, and ultimately inexorably joined in an unholy meat obelisk. God had no hand in the creation of this abhorrence. The fact that this ham monolith exists is proof that God is either impotent to alter his universe, or ignorant to the horrors taking place in his kingdom. This prison of pork is more than
so true.
It is a physical declaration of mankind's contempt for the natural order. It is hubris manifest. We also have a lower sodium variety, if you would prefer that.
Oh my god, so weird.
Oh, it's so
Yes.
true.
That's so
Emulsified meat cubes.
Yep.
Sorry, what?
I mean, yeah, kinda.
Wait.
She's confused.
Wait, which one's this one, Nazareth?
No, it's
It's me.
Alien.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh dear.
Yes, oh dear.
Yeah.
Final form. You're not fat, just a little bit chubby. The legendary hero is dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is artwork. And what a fine piece of art this is.
Oh, brilliant.
Well,
That guy deserves an award.
Very nice.
Persons under the age of 15 must be accompanied by a parent or adult guardian.
Okay.
just a look. You what?
What the fuck am I watching?
Well, right.
All right.
So my first meme. It is my first meme next, isn't it?
Yep.
Right. So foot warning. Just gonna throw that out there. Some people don't like feet. Just gonna, So this is not. It's
We prefer meters here.
anyway. Go on, Nazareth.
Oh god.
Shit, this is an emergency. Weebs is the one. Yep.
Oh, I've seen so many variations of this.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on, and I don't want to.
Yeah, I know, right? Sauce? It was Weebs. I was like, sauce? Sauce? OP, who put the sauce in the comments hours ago. People who got it from the comments. Degenerates who already knew the sauce. Yep.
So
TV
this would
anime
have given a warning.
Why would it get no? This is a product placement. TV anime free run beyond Journey's End. Hologram tin badge version 2 design 2 for 590 yen or $3.77. Go on, you know you want to buy it. What the fuck?
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Degenerate Japanese. No.
And now my video memes.
Oh no. By yourself.
And there's the other one in the corner.
There you
Nice.
go. Wait, does this need a... Oh, this probably needed a not safe for work.
Oops. Nah, this is fine. It's totally respectable.
He says.
Don't have one.
Yeah. Don't have a type.
And honestly, you get at me for things like that.
Yeah.
That's my bad.
Yep.
You haven't done it in a long time,
Yes,
though.
it is. It's your bad.
You learnt your lesson. I didn't, though.
Exactly.
I didn't learn his lesson. Last one.
Double time, Super Lardio!
I ain't gonna do this all day.
Then why are you still fat? So sorry. Follow your dreams, you fat f***. Sorry. Find your shining star.
What the fuck?
I don't know! I fucking found it! I just couldn't stop laughing!
What the actual fuck?
I'm gonna do this all day. Then why are you still fat?
Right. Right. So that's it pretty much for this week's episode. Thank you very much for everyone for staying, listening. Thank you very much, Affendor, for suggesting the topic. Next week, we should be doing the 7th episode review. We haven't seen anything that would indicate that we aren't. So not the 7, the full season. Sorry, what the fuck? 7 episodes? What the fuck am I talking about? The full season review. Yeah, clearly. Yeah, the full season review. Yeah, that's it for this week's episode. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching and or listening. And now it's time to bottoms up and can pie.